Hello everyone, welcome to VizConnect, connecting you with the art of data visualization and storytelling. My name is Sagar Kapoor. I'm part of customer success team at Tableau. VizConnect is all about how you can connect with each other with the power of data visualization and storytelling. We started this journey in the year 2019 with the help of one of the Tableau ambassador in India, Divya Bharti. And since then, we have gone ahead and hosted close to over 60 sessions. We are in season 3 and it's all growing thanks to our awesome Tableau community. So if you want to go ahead and watch our sessions recording, subscribe to our YouTube page. If you want to go ahead and connect with the community, go ahead and join our group on LinkedIn. Some great content waiting for you. And go ahead and follow us on Twitter by the hashtag VizConnect to know about what are the future sessions and how you can go ahead and connect with the community. With that, let me go ahead and introduce our speaker for today. Her name is Nisa Marcus. So Nisa is a senior analyst that spends her days supporting a large analytics user base, setting enablement initiatives, and focus on data literacy for a global brand. She's passionate about analytics and doing good with data. She also co-hosts the Data Women LATAM and is a part of Viz for Social Good board since 2019. She is also looking to help nonprofit organizations with their data and analytics challenges. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Nisa to talk about driving enablement. Nisa, over to you.
Thank you, Sagar. Let me just start sharing my content. Can you?
Yes, I can see your screen. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So, hi everyone. Welcome and thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. My name is Nisa, and for the next 30 minutes, I will be talking about driving enablement for internal communities. So, how many of us have been asked as part of our role to drive enablement? Well, it is when we are asked to do this kind of task. In the beginning, we can find it as very exciting. It's a world of possibilities, the opportunities to drive enablement, and also with that big task comes expectations. So the expectation is that all of us become the Sir Edmund Hillarys of enablement. For people that aren't quite aware who was Sir Edmund Hillary, are not familiar with the climbing, in specific climbing of the Everest, Sir Edmund Hillary was one of the first 2 people reaching the summit of Everest, so reaching the top of Everest. So it is a big expectation. When we look at it, we start looking around us to see what type of help will we have, how much people do we have in our team. Many times the ask is to be just you don't have much more support. Other times the ask is for 2 to 3 people. And for the most fortunate, then you have a big team to drive these enablements. So when we start looking at that, we start feeling more like a Sherpa. So a Sherpa are the people that help the climbers taking all the weight that they have during the journey. And it's that kind of weight that we start feeling on our backs. So we start feeling that we will have to multitask. And it can be in the beginning a little bit overwhelming. But let's look at the example of the Everest. Before you climb, you need about 6 to 9 months of preparation. And that is to be completely in a fit state to be able to do the journey. Minimum is 8 weeks. But it takes about 2 months to climb the Everest. So it takes time. The journey is done in stages. It isn't just you go to the mountain and you can climb the Everest in a day or a week. So you will have stages that are marked by camps, where you stop and you give time to your body to acclimatize to the environment itself and to the air. Even the people that are the stars and the pioneers of these journeys, like Sir Edmund Hillary, they do stop. And like Sir Edmund Hillary, he stopped 9 times. So the big successes that we see out there, many times they have more stages or they have more time to drive this enablement. So don't feel that you have to build this massive infrastructure in a day or in a week. You do need help, so you need your Sherpas also. You need a team. It isn't something that one person will be able to drive by themselves. And finally, but not least important, you need the support of family and friends. These are your bubble that will allow you and give you the strength and the enthusiasm to be able to carry this journey. So, pivoting this to the business setting, how will kind of take these learnings into the business? To start driving enablement, you have to have preparation. You have to do your research. You have to know your user base. Even if you work in a company for several years, you still need to do a little bit of research, talk with the end users, with your leadership, to know what are the expectations and how people will kind of engage with all the initiatives that you are aiming to drive. You also need time. So allow and set the expectations with your business of the time that you will need. And you will need to divide by stages, because by doing too many things at the same time, it may be the case that you won't be able to do your best work on the stages that you need to drive more attention. Also, you will need budgets. To take a journey like climbing the Everest, you need budget. To drive enablement in your company, you need a certain budget that will buy you or platforms, or will bring more help to your team, or even get to a partner and get help for someone that already has experience in enablement and driving that engagement. And your family support in the business setting, that is nothing more than your leadership. So the leadership will really need to support you through this journey. They will need to be there to kind of evangelize what you are doing and try to lead by example. So it is several items of the list that you will need to take into consideration. Starting with the enablement itself, that preparatory kind of work that we talked. So, and talk with your users, the end users, and find what are the different learning needs. Also, see what type of manpower or type of help you will have and type of budgets that you can count with. And then, aligned with the overall strategy of the business, think about the user types and the skills needed in the business, and that you will need also to aim your enablement to. So, maximize the engagement, the considerations that we talked of. Learning needs. No two persons are the same. And the way that we learn, we all learn differently. So you will have people that are very happy to be 100% self-served, so that they will just have the content what is freely available on the web or what you make them available, and they will have the journey as they please, starting how they want. If they want to start on the more advanced and they'll go to the more beginner, or the other way around. So they like that freedom. You may have users that like just to have in-person training, but they need to have that trainer-led type of formal training. And you will have users that is a hybrid approach. So they will like the first formal training, so the fundamentals, to be trainer-led, but then the rest, they will like to have that time and that availability of on-demand content that they can then go there and consume as their own leisure. The budget and manpower. This is a variable from business to business. So you will depend of if you have a team that is dedicated to this enablement journey, if you have a center of excellence, if it is just 2 or 3 people driving this, if it is just one person, or as I mentioned before, if you have that budget that you can bring a partner to help you through the enablement initiatives, to help you drive, and also to support you and give you guidance on experience that they had before. Lastly, the skills and user types. You can have between 2 to 3 plus types of user types and skills needed in the business. You'll need to define what are the objectives. Which tools do you have available? And what type of license you have? Because if the business did an investment on license, you want to maximize that investment. So you want your return of investment to be maximum. So you want your users really to use the license, and in this case, let's talk Tableau. So if you have explorers, creators, and if you want to maximize that kind of license, you have to let them know and acquire knowledge to take the most of the tool. And that will help also in driving value for the business, because if they are maximizing that license, it means that they are using different capabilities, maybe looking at the data in different ways. You need the leadership alignments, of course, and also the integration of these journeys into the personal development plans. Make it something attainable and something to look forward by the end of the year. Starting really with the progression of the enablement. I will say the first point to start, and this is the preparation work, is having a locale that is unique, that is the starting point, that is the point where anyone that will start the journey will start there. Establish learning goals. Define the user types and the skill needed. Then define the journeys. Monitor and evaluate. And finally, reassess the learning strategy. So let's look into more detail into each one of them. Locale and assess resources. Have a central hub of knowledge, the starting point of any journey. Have a live environment, so don't let your content become stale. Encourage to involve, to improve, to expand. So make it really live, where it is easily accessible, it's easy to navigate. Don't put too much information also, if you don't have a guidance of how to use that information. Try to cater for all the types of learnings that you, first of all, ask your user base. And also establish a communication platform that will be just concentrated on data and analytics. Establishing the learning goals. And this is obviously in alignment with the leadership and the vision itself. Will you have just a technical upskill, the level that you want the skills to be kind of acquired? Or will it have an inclusion of soft skills, of data literacy, or even business acumen? All of these are considerations that you have to have when defining your enablement. It doesn't mean that you cannot have technical tool-driven journeys, but maybe you may need a parallel journey to complement the technical one. The user types. Normally they are based on a tool. So in case Tableau or any other tool that you may need to drive enablements, or it can be role-based, maybe based on the roles that you need within the company, within the team. Define journeys. So if you give a single point of entry, which is, it can be a website, it can be a site on SharePoint, you have a lot of content. It's always good to have a structured journey where people can kind of address it as a map, where they say, okay, I start with this content, and then the second step is A, B, C, and so on. That way they can progress in a more structured way. So each kind of a skill level or each journey will have different objectives. Normally it's tool-driven. And the important point to have more engagement is to have those journeys integrated on a user-friendly platform. And as I mentioned, again, it should be aligned with the overall strategy. To monitor and evaluate. So that platform where you have integration of your journeys, many of them today in the market, they can track the usage. And you can also add exams and quizzes. That way, you will not only define KPIs of success for your team and for your task that it was given to you, but also you will have a platform that can prepare people for industry certifications. You can see which of the content you created people are using the most and the least. And with that, we'll get you to the sixth point, which is the final point, reassess the learning strategy. Reassessing the learning strategy is based on that monitoring and tracking that you can see which initiatives or which content is being more successful, is having more engagement. And that you will carry on with the ones that are already successful, which will make sense, but evaluate the other ones, why, the why behind that content it isn't being used or it's becoming stale. In that case, then it's a time to reassess. Will you just drop that content or just reinvent a way of delivering the content or changing any part of the content that will make it a little bit more engaging? Let's take a Tableau journey use case. Let's say that we needed for a business a hybrid approach. We needed a self-sustained type of journey that is also scalable. We start with our team. So our team is quite small, and we need to drive all of this enablement strategy that we're doing. The first step to make your team a little bit bigger without having more headcount or to go to external partners is use the talent that you have internally in your business. Choose people that are very enthusiastic. So that is the preparatory work that we're talking. You go around, you see people that are more enthusiastic about data and data analytics, and turn them into ambassadors. So train them as your evangelists. They will be the extension of the team that will create awareness. At the same time you are doing that, create a group that will be very technical, that will be really technical savvy, will be the subject matter experts. Give them formal training, prepare them to the maximum of skills that you need and even beyond that. Once you do that, your ambassadors will then recruit and train further ambassadors. The same will happen with your that community of data champions, let's call it. Your data champions will do the same. They will become the trainers. They will become the people that are driving your clinical hours or doctor sessions, as you want to call it. They will also be the people that will be creating content that is business specific and also driving many of the initiatives. And with this team will then carry on all that knowledge to the rest of the business. At enterprise level, obviously it will be globally, but if it is not at enterprise level, around the business that it was defined in the beginning of the enablement strategy. So in the summary, you will have an extension of the team that is scalable and is self-sufficient. That we will have contact points, so you will see what is happening and you can still have influence of how the enablement is being driven, but you have many more people now that is added to your team. Talk about the ambassadors. So these are the analytic evangelists. As I said, they are supporters of the analytics team. They will organize the initiatives. So you will look at these users. They don't need to be technical savvy. They need to know enough to be able to evangelize and consult other people or give advice or just take them to the places where they will get more information. And lastly, even if it is needed, then pointed them to you. They will also be the people that you can count to drive or to collect your value stories. As they are doing this awareness and they are sharing and evangelizing the analytics, you can ask them to spot opportunities. So they will bring you the information of data challenge that are happening within the business. Then it can be another initiative that you may have further down the line. Let's talk about the technical skills. I'll talk about the ambassadors. So don't need so much technical skills, but if they have is a plus. But now let's concentrate on the ones that you really want to upskill technically in Tableau and what type of license you have, what type of users you will have for the challenge that you have in the business. So starting with the most technical people. So these are the data champions. The data champions will be the ones that go through formal training, will go to advanced training. They will be set to take the official Tableau certifications. They will also be driving doctor sessions or lab hours. They will be the first support, technical support of your team, followed by the creators. So the creators will be the other, I call it normally analysts at desk. They will need technical skills enough to be able to do their job. But they, for some reason, they don't want to be that first point of contact for others. They don't want to go through the industry certifications. They just need to know enough to be able to do their job or to address any requests coming to their way. So they are still technical, but not as expert as you will have a data champion. And finally, apologies, you have the Explorer. So the Explorer, and it's linked again with the Tableau license, it is the end user. So this Explorer will be someone that you still want to consume the analysis that are created for them, but you want them to use data and to create some ad hoc analysis too. You want them to use the ask data functionality that is available to them. So on the technical terms, they will be the least technical, but still with some technical know-how to understand the tool and to understand even the requirements that they are having to the teams. Each one of these type of users, we develop that structured journeys. We normally try to, by experience, set the same number of stages, with the exception of the data champions, because the expectations for the data champions are a little bit higher. So for all of them, with the exception of the data champion, they have 5 stages. The progression and the type of knowledge they acquire is built upon each other. So they have to complete one stage before they go to the second, and complete the second stage before they go to the third, until they reach the end of the journey. The data champions then, they will finish the diamond stage with a specialist certification. And to carry on through the certifications, Tableau certifications, they will have a qualified and then an expert level. So they will become certified professionally at the expert level. All of these journeys, you have to have a way of quantifying knowledge. Data champions are the easiest because obviously they are expected to have the industry certifications. So somehow you can quantify a bit the knowledge that they have by the acquisition of the passing the certification. At the other levels, that platform, the e-learning platform that is user-friendly and that you can add the quizzes, you can add small exams at the end of each stage that will be based on the learnings that you are sharing with them. And that way you will have also a scoring, a pass mark. And for some reason, if they aren't ready to pass the quiz that you had, then you will use the ambassadors and the champions to give them, the end user, some guidance on the areas that they need to improve. So I will show you now the example of a detailed example of an explorer journey. Starting, so these are the ones that will use the web editor functionality. In the beginning of each journey, set the expectations. Tell them, the end user, make it very clear what type of journey it is. So it is web-based, it is consume analysis in the browser, so they know where they are going to. And what are the learning goals? So able to create analysis from a previous report that's in the browser. Connect to a published data source. Use natural language, such as Ask Data. Furthermore, create ad hoc analysis and create reports from a data source. So from here, you're already telling your users, this is the journey and these are the goals. When you make this available, this information, then people can almost evaluate if it is the journey that is most fitting to them, as well in the partnership with their team leads. Looking at the skill belt, make available where they are. I normally like to start the users all at the same level, even the ones that already had previous knowledge by self-serve. And I do that, or I advise to do that, because by having formal training or having the structured consumption of e-learning training, you are guaranteeing that there isn't a gap of knowledge of the fundamental or the base skills that you need. Make aware every user where they are starting. Have also a timeline expectation. This will be obviously a conversation with the line managers and the business, but tell them more or less what is the expectation for them to complete the journey. In this case, we can see that I have between 6 and 9 months. For some people, it will take more. For other people, it will take less. So in the beginning, for the Explorer, we will advise the online videos that are at server level and one onboarding call. The onboarding call is more to tell them where the information is, give them a little bit of a demo, and even to make them available to the information of who are their ambassadors and their data champions. Once they complete this, they have a small quiz. If they pass, you go to the second level. And the silver level is where you start getting initiatives that are more hands-on. And it's more with expectations, sometimes even some business expectations. Once they pass that, then you add the third one, and so on until you reach the diamond level. But diamond level, this is where you're already expecting them to know how to use the Ask Data, how to create ad hoc analysis, and also a little bit about subscriptions, data alerts. So they are quite already, the knowledge, it isn't just consumption of analytics. I've also established what are the learning outcomes for each stage. They know from the beginning what they are up to. So what are the things that they will take from the journey itself. It may be a case that a user doesn't need to reach the diamond. So any user can stop at any kind of stage. So if you may have a user that stops at gold level, if it is enough for the objectives that they had. So it isn't, you don't need to complete everything. To Talking about the initiatives, I will give you an example of several initiatives, but there are many more that you can still take as part of your skill bets. One is Lunch and Learn, which is small bites of knowledge, half an hour, where people can consume over lunch, or they can even do within teams, where if someone learns something new, they can do a small session of half an hour for the team and teach them how to do it. Then you have the user groups. The user groups are the opportunity to network, to see what is being created within the business, and to leverage each other. The show and tells. I think this is one of the most important ones. This is the part of the gamification. By having show and tells where people show what they have been constructing, the value that is bringing to the business, that will create inspiration to other teams. And also that part of the gamification, if they are doing, I want to do it too, why aren't we doing that? The other advantage of this is you will be able to see what is being created in the business. So it does help to leverage solutions, so scalability, increase the scalability of solutions, and also prevent duplication of content. So that will be a good way almost to start already thinking at server level, if you are managing a server. Internal conference, an opportunity to do yearly and to bring external people from the community to speak to your users. Also for everyone within, not everyone, but to have use cases within the business to be showcased and have visibility at leadership level. So make sure your leadership is invited and also are speakers on the event. The Viz Challenge. The Viz Challenge, for you that are familiar with Makeover Monday, is more or less the same concept. You make available a data set, you give them a month, and they create an analysis. Then you have 5 or 6 parameters where you score those visualizations. Talking about the visualization tool, so that's why we will be scoring on the visualization level. By scoring them, also make this a game. Score the 3 best ones and give them prizes. So the prizes can be Amazon vouchers, or it could be a visualization book, anything of your choosing. But make it like a small game. The opportunity for the Viz Challenge is giving them the possibility of asking feedback. Asking feedback will allow them to improve, but also equally important is will allow you or your data champions to have visibility on the gaps of knowledge, of skill you have. And with that, you will have then content to create webinars and initiatives during the year. So it's a way of addressing still the gaps that you are seeing in a business. Again, we come to the ambassadors and the data champions. All of these initiatives should be driven by these 2 types of users. Events organization, the raise of awareness. That first point of contact, someone doesn't know what is the tool, how to use the tool. They can do small demos. Maybe giving them contact of other people that are already using the tool in the business. So these are very important. The data champions then are the technical part. So they will be the trainers. They will give that technical support. They will be delivering sessions and also creating content. And by having this type of users, you have an extension of your team. By having such a large, let's call network of community drivers, of data culture growth, you will also have more people to kind of share the workload. Because many times this ask is an ask on top of what they normally do as a normal role and their role. So having more people helping is a way of taking the workload of the others. And with this, you will promote the engagement and the data culture growth. So it becomes almost organic. Some of the platforms, and this is just an example of e-learning platforms that may help you have the points that I mentioned before, which is the gamification, which is being able to put quizzes and have certifications. Also, many of them have a link directly to the performance review end of year, which make things really easy. And they have also the other function that is really important, which is tracking the progression status. So you have several, you can take it as an example if you have others within the company. More important than anything is make it really user-friendly, because if a platform isn't user-friendly, then you will lose the engagement and you will lose the community quite easily. So, success. 3 levels. Leadership. Leadership has to allow time to upskill, because it will be very hard to upskill and still have all the deliverables that you would have normally. Have the team leader to upskill with their team. Doesn't mean that it has to be at the same user type, but the team leads by going through the journey with their teams. What will allow is understanding of the tool capacity or capabilities, let's say, will help them also how to or have more conscious on the type of request they are asking. So we'll give them a little bit more information on this can be done in Tableau, this cannot be done. This will take a lot of work or maybe a lot of tricks or even a little bit of hacking to have that solution. It isn't good. They will give you concepts of performance and what is best practices, including the skill belts on personal development. This is quite important for them. And by having the structured journeys, we are making it much easier for any team leads. And also equally important is have some monthly connects or bi-monthly connects with the team lead and leadership with your own team. So it isn't the extension, it isn't the ambassadors and the data champions anymore, it's your analytics team. Because this is the part that if you have to raise any concern, any dependency, this is the time that you have that informal conversation. Obviously, it's easier to have this regular connection than to just raise concerns when the things are already quite bad. So that's why you create that empathy and that relationship that is really important for support. Have regular catch-ups with the team itself. So this team went through always this journey of progression and upskilling. So you want to see what they are doing with it, because once they finish that formal training, that can be e-learning or the videos, the online videos that Tableau has, and this from free access. But you want to see what are the solutions that they are creating. They have the training, see what they are doing, not only the technical gaps that they have, but more importantly is how they are driving value of the skills and the tools that they were given. Review what offerings you still have available, or if you have any new offerings as a team, as part of your program, just make the team aware. Introduce to different areas of the business. So make that connection, which possibly solutions can then be scalable. Can be that different parts of the business can look at a solution that are being developed for a team member, and they can just up and lift it to another function or area. The sharing platform, I'm talking about Slack, talking about Convo or Yammer. It doesn't really matter, or even Teams in Microsoft. So it's a sharing platform where your users will support each other. It's visibility on content, visibility on the type of questions are being asked. It's where you also do the communications of any new event that is coming, server upgrades, any new features. This is almost your live, your daily live chats with your end users. it's also important to celebrate successes. So it's a platform that you should have leadership added to. And when people reach a certification, make a great announcement, celebrate it, let the leadership and the other teams know that this team, all of them reach, let's say, specialist certification is a big win. And again, gamification. With all of these things, you will start creating interest. People will start looking at what other people are doing. They will start connecting and wanted to do themselves. And with that, becoming data-driven. I talk a lot about leadership and support. So how to address each part, not only the team leads, but the end user. It is important, and they know that by bringing this enablement and bringing these new tools, you will create value, you will make your work easier, there are less risks of data errors. So all of that is almost assumed. You can review all of that wins, but equally important is to let them know that you have a structured learning path. You have integration on personal development plans. The platform that is directly linked to the performance reviews, it's seamless. So there isn't much of typing in the end of the year for both parts. And then you have the industry certifications and even the internal certifications to showcase your KPIs. Having show and tells quarterly or even monthly, which I think probably monthly will be a little bit too much, but quarterly, and including the upper management will not only give visibility to the team leads, but also visibility to the team. This show and tell, it's very important for people to be celebrated and even for career progressions. On the show and tell, I also like to include the team leads to share their experience. Not only the show and tell of, okay, we learned, we did this solution, we are getting this efficiencies, or we are getting this value to the business, but also the part of the team lead, why it was important for his or her team to go through this transformation. What were the wins? What was the value that isn't not only business value that he sees going, or she sees going forward. For the end user, again, define path of development, recognition and visibility, the industry certifications, and if you have budget, if the business can sponsor the certifications, is a plus. They have a career progression. They see the develop, they see where they can get to. It's just a way of choosing which type of users they want to be. Doesn't stop them to start as a user type and going through another user type. Having that user-friendly platform where they can track where they are, it makes a big difference. And then that visibility and recognition on that platform, which is the Slack or even Convo, having that recognition by peers and by management is also very important. And give them the opportunity many times on those show and tells and on the platforms of communications to have contacts at a leadership level that they wouldn't have in another way. So we are getting to the end of my presentation, and I wanted to just share some tips that I learned along the way. At skill belt level, implementing skill belts at team level, functional level, it's much more efficient than to just open to everyone. Having a hybrid approach, having the formal training followed up by a session where users can use their own data, and then have the progress of self-directed, that has much more engagement and much more success than just having, this is the content and you can go through it at your own pace. It gives that opportunity to have the 10% of formal training, the 20 for learning from others by learning on the show and tells, learning on those clinic hours, doctor sessions, and then learning by doing, applying the knowledge on the dashboard development that they need to do as part of their role. The catch-ups that cover solutions and analysis. So as you see, the catch-up is not covering technical upskilling. It's show me what you are doing. Let me see how you are using the knowledge that you acquired. Having someone that is the analytics driver in the team. It will be that enthusiast that will book the meetings, that will book the trainings, that will remind the colleagues that they still have to do, I don't know, 2 Viz challenges. They need to do a Viz feedback. So having that person that is almost pushing everyone to go through the journey. And starting everyone from the same level, because this way you will guarantee best practices. And with that, we'll be helping the server team too. Training level. Use generic data. Customized data, it's not scalable. So if you customize your data to a part of the business, and then you have to do the same for another part, you will spend a lot of time trying to customize every content. And then when updates come, everything has to be updated. So use generic data, follow that with a training session of one-to-one, where you have that doctor session or clinical hour, where users are developing already a solution using their data, but applying the knowledge that they had acquired on the formal training. Have the catch-up sessions with them, see what are the gaps that you can see or in best practices or technically, or even asking questions to the data, and plan webinars that can address those gaps. Leadership. Support the team leads developing the personal development plans. Make it hybrid. You can use those skill belts that I shared and add some business objectives too. It can be by middle of the year, I want you to bring me a new challenge that you have noticed in the business, or show me something that we haven't seen on this data set before. Something like that can be integrated on your skill belts. Catch-up sessions that plan future webinars. Make them, the team leads, aware on where their team are. So, and say what type of progression they still need to reach what you will consider the fundamental training to be able to get to the goals that were stipulated in the beginning of the journeys. The show and tells with value impact. And this value, it isn't just the dollar amount to it. It can be value in the sense of mind shift, can be cultural shifts and using data in a different way. The team leads upskilling with their teams, it helps a lot. They will see them as a role model. And if you see a team lead going through this journey, you will want to have that journey with him or her. And also, you will have the visibility of opportunities by including some other goals into your skill belts that are more business driven. You will be able then to share with the leadership some of the areas that may need a solution or may need to be addressed. And that can be not this year, maybe on the second year coming, but already gives you what are the areas that have potential. And with that, I finalize my presentation, and I'm open for Q&A.
Yeah, thank you, Nisa, for that. I think it was great in terms of and you like this. The great part about your presentation was that, and this is something which I have been talking to my customer also, that it's a journey, right? You have to go ahead and invest in your users in terms of education, in terms of how you can go ahead and connect with them in a community, right? So thank you for that. So we have a question for you, And the question is about what are the top three reasons for which end users are reluctant to use Tableau in their daily job?
So the top three reasons normally will be you have one that is very common that they have been using another tool and normally will default to Excel, that things are working as it is, why should I change? That is one of the top reasons. The second reason is the fear of the unknown. So by bringing a tool that will make your life easier, that will make the process that you are going through quicker, what will I do next? Will I be out of job? So that is a
Right.
real fear. And the third one is, I'm not a data person. So show them that anyone can use Tableau or can use a visualization tool to be able to see patterns, outliers on the data. It's very eye-opening, I would say, and show them that even children these days are using Tableau. That is really good because you can show them that even their kids, if they have kids, will be able to do a visualization if they wanted to do it again.
Perfect. Thank you, Nisa, for that. And I had one question for you in terms of how did your Tableau journey started, right? Like when did you got started with Tableau, and what were two or three advices if you want to give someone who's starting their Tableau journey now?
Okay, so my journey, I started with, my background is in health. So when I was studying public health, so background itself, I'm a dentist that then progressed to study public health. And I started using Tableau by influence of my husband at that time. He was using it at his work and he showed me, oh, you should be doing that, which were my assignments in Tableau. It will reduce a lot of your time and it will look really good. That's where I started, really. So it was like as I saw the light moment, and I really seen that the assignments were much easier to analyze the data, to get really good insights in a pleasant way that were user-friendly to my teachers also. Then from there, I joined data school. I started a little bit learning by myself on the Tableau learning videos. I went through them like they were hot buns, to be honest. And then I joined the data school where I had training. But one of the things that I would advise is you can visualize about anything. Find something that you really love and collect data about it. And start visualizing that. Practice. Go through the e-learning videos and start practicing in the data that you really are passionate about. And then join the community. Tableau has such an amazing community. Join the community. Don't be afraid to share what you are building. Everyone started there. There isn't anyone in the community that just suddenly was an expert and doing these amazing things. So the community itself is very understanding and it's selfless. So if you reach out anyone, I guarantee you they will reach out back and help you.
Thank you, Nisa. And then there is one question from Matt, and he's asking, have you had to adapt your training delivery during the COVID crisis?
Yes, that was. We went from like the imports of the formal training. We went from in-person to virtual. What we did, we developed some training that was like it was videos or it was virtual lessons that we would record and we will put on demand. So if people weren't available to join one of those virtual trainings, we recorded and we made it available so they could catch up later. But everything, all the initiatives had pivoted everything for virtual. And it wasn't bad. We still miss that part of the human contact for sure. But you will see that virtually there is a lot you can still do to maintain people engaged.
Perfect. Thank you, Nisa. And
Yeah.
just one last question from my end. What was the role of Tableau community in your journey, and especially having a Tableau public profile?
Yeah, it was everything in the beginning. I managed to do really good friends in the community. My public profile, if you go through it, I don't do anything. So you will see my first visualization, and apologies if you go there and see it. It's not best practices, but it was really cool to do. So I tried to visualize things that I was really passionate about. And to this day, I don't have as much time as I had it before, but I still miss it. I love Tableau Public and I love to create visualizations. And it is a way of practicing things that in a normal business setting, you wouldn't do. So you can almost stretch a little bit the best practices just to see the tool capability and to see how you could almost bend Tableau to convey the message that is important. Let's say. And if you don't have any other questions, I would love to thank you. I shared with Saga before, I have a website with a blog where I have all the skill belts for all user types. I'm incrementing that content, but please, if you want to use it, you are more than welcome. Use that as a baseline. Something to keep in mind is develop these enablement plans. It's a size fits all. So you have to customize to the needs and the goals that you have in your business. But you can use it as an inspiration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead,
I just wanted to offer, if anyone wants to connect, my handle tag on Twitter is Nisa_Mara. Please reach out. I'll be happy to talk to you guys and give you any more insights.
Perfect. And I will also just go ahead and paste the link for your site so that everyone can just go ahead and bookmark it.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. So with that, thank you, Nisa. It was an honor to have you on VizConnect. Thank you for sharing all your learnings on how everyone can go ahead and create an enablement series in the organization and create an education program which will help them to connect, motivate, and inspire everyone in the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Have a lovely day. See you then.